Today's video is going to be about filtering your airbrush paints. Do you need to filter your airbrush paints? Well, the short and long answers on that. And do you necessarily have to always filter your airbrush paints? The short answer is no. The longer answer is there are times in which it is very beneficial to filter your airbrush paints. Remember, just because it says ready to spray doesn't mean ready to spray in all circumstances. Clearly, they make filters for these PPS cups. They make these strainers like this that are designed for paint before you spray it through a spray gun. So clearly the manufacturers understand that, contaminants can get inside paint. But anyway, the goal is always going to be to, just like when you're picking teams for dodgeball, is to filter out the slow fat guys like myself, always getting picked last, and leave the skinny quick guys getting through. You can use something like this to filter your paints, but that's kind of unwieldy and you waste a lot of paint when you're talking about for airbrushing. So I'm going to go over a few of the things that I do to filter my paints. And when you're doing details and fine detail work, it is absolutely a huge help to your painting. And I'll go over later when you should not filter your airbrush paints. All right, so if I take this old bottle, you can see all little undissolved little particles that are stuck on the side of that bottle, and that is a result of opening and closing, allowing air to get in there, and things fall back down in there. Paint gets dried up in there, falls back down in the bottle, and it doesn't necessarily resolve really well into the paint no matter how much you shake it. So knowing paints get stuck like that inside there, that led a lot of us to solutions like pantyhose and things like that strapped to the bottle. This is actually a 125 micron filter, came out of a PPS cup, and stretched over there, and that will keep anything that's inside this bottle from getting up into here. However, that's not always the only solution, but here's what I'm using now. I'm using these are a 200 micron filter. They are pipe cleaners, and I'll leave you guys a link. These are 1/2-inch diameter cleaners, and what I'm doing with them in my bottles, and I'm gonna use this clean bottle to show you so it's easier to see, and I am dropping them in my bottle like that, and then just putting the cap back on, and that allows it to filter through there. Got a little bag of 50 of these, and it was just, somewhere, 10, 11 bucks, something like along the lines. And there are other filters you guys can, look if you want to use a different type of filter. Like I said, I'll leave you guys a link, drop it down below. You can check these out, and you can also look at other sizes if you're interested in doing something different. Now, that solution works that's Chroma Air, Comart, anything in the 1 and 2 ounce Createx range will work. Golden, the no name paints, ETAC, the 1 and 2 ounce bottles, those all work. Trident is a different size diameter, so if you're using Trident, it might be a 3/4 inch, but I would imagine you guys are smart enough to measure that out and figure out what that dimension is if you want to use that. Okay, while that helps some, of course, as you can see clearly, things get dirty on these mustard tips. That's dried paint. It's going to flake off of there. So knowing that stuff can get, on the tip on the outside like that, I decided to make this other little filter, which works really, really well. Drops right into my airbrush like that. Most of your C-cup airbrushes will accept that. I know my Omni, my Patriot, my Eclipses will all just hold that in there. You could cut this off a little bit cleaner. I like it because it gives me something to hold on to, something so it won't get lost so easy and sit like this. But all I did to make this was I just drilled out this part right there of one of my bottles, old bottle. Stuck the straight end upside down. Tighten it down, and I'll show you an image of some paint that I strained. And this is the paint from my black bottle of paint that already has a screen in the bottle, and I'll show you the little, debris that got stuck in there just from the tips. And this is a picture of it while it's in black, and then I'm going to spray some water through it to clean that up so you can see those little particles that are left behind by the screen. Okay, so I said earlier there are times in which you should not. Well, particularly, you should not filter out pearls, mica, iridescents, and things of those natures and metallics, because you don't want to filter out. Those are big particles. You don't want to filter because you're going to, stop all those metallics and pearls that you need. So now we're trying to build an O-line. It is time for us fat guys to shine. We're trying to be, the star of the show now. So those big, huge particles need to be seen. And also, glow-in-the-dark paints are really, really large particles. I'm sure if you've ever messed with glow-in-the-dark paint, you realize how gritty those are. You don't want to filter that because you need those large particles to shine, and fluorescence particularly is another one. But anyway, that's going to be a wrap for today. That's about all we got for it. I appreciate y'all for coming by. I'm Bill Kennedy with the Aerospace, and y'all have a great day. Bye.